For most of my life, I thought naps were a sign of weakness, something you did if you were a child, or maybe if you were just too old to keep up. But now, in my late 60s, I've come to realize something I wish someone had told me earlier. Naps aren't just rest, they're healing, they're survival. In this episode of Elderly Reflections, we're going to talk about something simple, something anyone can do, but it's also something that could change the way you age. We'll explore the hidden power of naps in senior health, and I'll share with you some powerful stories from real people, men and women over 65, who discovered that closing their eyes for a little while each day did more than just recharge their energy. It helped them regain their independence, their clarity, even their dignity. So, if you're over 60 or love someone who is, stay with me. What you hear today might just shift the way you think about aging, rest, and the quiet moments we so often ignore. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because every week we bring you stories and truths that carry the kind of elderly wisdom you won't find anywhere else. You ever notice how, when you were young, a nap felt like a punishment, but as you age, it becomes something sacred? I used to laugh at my father when he'd nod off in his chair after lunch, remote still in hand, glasses sliding down his nose. Now I understand exactly what he was doing, and more importantly, why. Naps aren't just moments of rest. For seniors, especially after 65, they're a lifeline. Let's start with something simple. The human body after 60 isn't just slowing down, it's changing in ways that demand rest, whether we like it or not. Our circadian rhythm, that natural clock inside us, begins to shift. We start to wake earlier, go to bed sooner, and often feel sleepy in the early afternoon. It's not laziness, it's biology. And here's the truth, fighting it does more harm than good. There's a story I often share about a man named Thomas. Thomas is 73, lives in rural Minnesota, spent his whole life working on tractors, fixing engines, raising 3 kids, salt of the earth kind of man. But in his early 70s, says, he started having dizzy spells. Fell in the garden once, ended up with a broken wrist. Doctor told him it might be fatigue, that his body wasn't getting the deep rest it needed at night. Thomas brushed it off. I don't need naps, he said. I'm not some old man. His wife, Mary, had to convince him otherwise. They made a deal. Every day after lunch, Thomas would lie down for just 20 minutes. Not an hour, not an entire afternoon, just 20. Within weeks, his energy was back. The dizziness? Gone. His doctor even noticed his blood pressure was more stable. But the biggest change wasn't medical, it was emotional. Thomas started to feel sharp again, present, like himself. That's what elderly reflections are often made of. Moments we used to overlook, now turning out to be the keys to living better. And there's science behind what happened to Thomas. The National Institutes of Health released a study showing that a 20 to 30-minute nap in the early afternoon improves memory, reduces cardiovascular strain, and even lowers inflammation in older adults. Just imagine, something as simple as shutting your eyes could help prevent heart attacks, slow down cognitive decline, and ease joint pain. But here's where it gets interesting. Naps aren't just about the body, they're about the mind. Seniors often carry a lifetime of thoughts, responsibilities, regrets, joys. The mental load doesn't disappear when we retire. If anything, it becomes heavier. You're no longer solving office problems. You're worrying about your medications, your spouse's health, your grown children's choices. One elderly woman I met in Toronto, her name was Estelle, told me she started taking naps not because she was tired, but because it was the only time her mind would finally go quiet. She said, when I nap, I stop thinking about the past, I just rest. Estelle's story struck a chord with me, because for many seniors, especially those living alone, mental fatigue is a real issue. According to the Alzheimer's Association, midday rest has been shown to improve cognitive performance and decrease the likelihood of short-term memory loss in aging adults. It's like giving your brain a gentle reset, like a warm cloth over a tired face. Of course, not every nap is created equal. Let me be clear, napping for 2 hours every day can backfire. It can disrupt nighttime sleep, throw off your rhythm, and even lead to more confusion in people struggling with dementia. The ideal nap? Between 10 to 30 minutes. Anything more and you risk grogginess, what doctors call sleep inertia, that heavy-headed, can't think straight feeling. We've all been there. One of the most compelling examples I've come across comes from a senior center in Oregon. They started a program called Quiet 25. Every day at 1 p.m., lights dim, soft music plays, and residents are encouraged to lie down or sit quietly for 25 minutes. They're not forced to sleep. Some just sit. Some close their eyes. After 6 months, the director reported fewer falls, lower blood pressure readings, and an overall improvement in mood among residents. But here's the beautiful part. People started looking forward to it. They said it reminded them of Sundays when life used to be slower. There's something deeply emotional about that. Slowness, stillness. Seniors, especially in America and Europe, are constantly pressured to stay active, stay productive, fight aging. But what if the answer isn't in fighting? What if it's in surrendering, just for a few minutes a day, and letting your body recover? That's the kind of elderly wisdom we don't hear enough about. The kind passed down not in textbooks, but in lived experience. My grandfather, a proud Irish immigrant, used to say, "Son, every machine needs to cool its engine." He'd work the morning shift at the mill, come home, eat a bowl of soup, then nap in his chair. I never once saw him tired, not really. He honored his body's rhythm. Today we've got more machines than ever, but we forget to listen to the most important one, ourselves. I also want to talk about naps and emotional regulation. A study from the University of California, Berkeley, found that seniors who nap regularly tend to experience fewer mood swings. Think of it like this. When you're tired, everything feels worse. A spilled cup of coffee feels like the end of the world. But when you're rested, you laugh it off. That emotional balance is crucial in aging. It's what keeps relationships strong, conversations kind, and outlooks hopeful. Let me give you another example. Richard and Helen, both in their 80s, have been married for 57 years. They argue like teenagers, but love each other fiercely. Their daughter once told me the secret to their long marriage was naps. Not just individual naps, but a shared quiet time after lunch where neither of them talked. They'd sit in silence, breathe, sometimes drift off, sometimes not. But when they rose, they felt reset. The little annoyances disappeared, their love had space to breathe again. You see, napping is more than sleep. It's a pause button for a life that doesn't slow down, even after retirement. It's a form of self-respect, a way to say, my body and mind matter enough to rest. Now, I want to talk about something important, because while naps can be a gift, they can also become a problem if we're not mindful. You see, not every nap is good for every senior. There are traps, and I've seen too many folks fall into them. The first mistake, napping too long. A lot of older adults, especially those living alone or retired, fall into a rhythm of napping for an hour, sometimes 2 in the middle of the day. It might feel good in the moment, especially if the night was restless, but it comes with a price. Long naps can confuse your internal clock, disrupt nighttime sleep, and leave you more tired, not less. That's what happened to Eleanor. Eleanor is 79, lives in Brighton, England. Sharp woman, used to be a teacher. But after her husband passed, she started sleeping more during the day. At first it was grief, then it became habit. By the time her daughter noticed, Eleanor was sleeping 3 hours every afternoon, then staying awake till 2 a.m., watching old detective shows on TV. She told me it was like I was living in reverse. And the problem wasn't just sleep, it was loneliness. Because she napped during the day, she missed calls, skipped coffee mornings, and slowly people stopped inviting her out. That's when her daughter stepped in. They worked with a sleep therapist. They cut her naps down to 25 minutes max. Within weeks, her nighttime sleep improved, and more importantly, her social life came back. She started attending her senior yoga class again. Her eyes sparkled when she spoke. That's the thing. When naps get too long, they take away more than they give. The second mistake, napping out of boredom. It's easy to confuse tiredness with emptiness. I've seen it at nursing homes and even among friends my age. You sit on the couch. You're not really tired, but there's nothing on TV worth watching, the kids haven't called, and you just drift off. That kind of nap doesn't restore, it dulls. It becomes a way to pass time, not recharge. That's what happened to George, a 68-year-old retired train conductor in Ohio. He once told me, "After I stopped working, I didn't know what to do with my mornings, so I ate breakfast, sat in my chair, and slept." Over time, he felt groggier, moodier, but what helped him wasn't less sleep, it was more purpose. He joined a local community woodshop, started building birdhouses. Suddenly, his naps became earned. "Now I nap like I used to after long shifts," he said with a laugh. "And it feels good again." That brings me to a crucial point. Seniors need to distinguish between fatigue and meaninglessness. Are you napping because your body needs rest, or because your soul feels empty? Another important piece: naps and medication. Many seniors take prescriptions that affect alertness. Beta blockers, pain meds, even allergy pills. Some cause drowsiness that mimics natural fatigue. But the solution isn't always to nap more. It's to talk to your doctor. I knew a gentleman in Calgary, name was Walter. He was on medication for blood pressure and started falling asleep at lunch. His wife thought it was normal aging, but turns out the dose was too high. After adjusting it, Walter no longer needed that nap, and he became more alert, more engaged. So if you're suddenly napping more than usual, it's worth asking, is this my body speaking or my medication? And let's not forget underlying conditions. People with diabetes, heart disease, or early signs of cognitive decline often experience sleep disruptions. If you or someone you love starts needing frequent naps during the day, especially longer than 45 minutes, it could be a red flag. Not just fatigue. Excessive daytime sleepiness is one of the early indicators of sleep apnea and even Alzheimer's. Don't ignore it. Get it checked. But just as naps can sometimes be a signal of illness, they can also become part of the healing process. I'll never forget Linda, a 66-year-old recovering from a minor stroke. She was told to avoid overexertion, manage her blood pressure, and keep her brain calm. Her doctor prescribed something surprising: 2 naps per day, each 20 minutes. "Let your brain rest," he said. And she did. Every day at 10:30 and 2 o'clock. She'd close her eyes, soft jazz playing in the background. She told me those naps weren't rest, they were recovery. Within months, her speech returned, her hands steadied, and she even started painting again. Those brief pockets of stillness helped rewire her brain. Sometimes what we call laziness is actually therapy in disguise. And here's something modern life doesn't always recognize. Older adults experience sleep fragmentation. We don't sleep in one solid stretch anymore. We wake more often at night to use the bathroom because of pain, or simply because our brain no longer releases as much melatonin. That's why short daytime naps are not just okay, they're part of the new rhythm. A study published in Sleep Medicine Journal followed 3,000 seniors across Germany and France. It found that those who took one structured nap per day, between 12 and 3 p.m., reported better overall well-being, sharper memory, and reduced rates of depression. The key word here is structured. That means choosing your nap like you'd choose a meeting. Let me tell you about Sophia, 85, living in Barcelona. Every day after lunch, she lays out a cotton blanket, lights a lavender candle, and rests. No screens, no noise. Her grandson calls it Grandma's sacred hour. And you know what? She hasn't needed antidepressants or sleeping pills in years. That daily ritual of rest became her medicine. So yes, naps are simple, but they are powerful. And when done right, timed well, kept brief, respected, they become one of the most natural ways to stay well, stay whole, and stay connected to the rhythm of life after 65. Because in this stage of life, it's not about how much we do, but how well we care for what we already are. Now, maybe you're wondering, how do I nap the right way? How do I bring this into my life without letting it take over? Well, I'm glad you asked, because over the years, through conversations and personal trial and error, I've seen what works and what doesn't for folks like us. The first rule is simple: keep it short. The sweet spot for a nap is between 10 and 30 minutes. That's just enough time to refresh your mind and restore your body without slipping into deep sleep, which makes it harder to wake up. I've known people who set a kitchen timer or use a gentle alarm on their phone. Something soft, like birdsong or piano music. Second, stick to a routine. Your body loves rhythm. Try to nap around the same time every day, usually between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. That's when your body temperature naturally dips, and you're more likely to feel drowsy. It's like your body is whispering, "Let me rest now, just for a moment." Listen to it. Third, make your space restful. You don't need blackout curtains or sound machines. but you do need peace. Dim the lights, turn off the TV, let the world quiet down. I once met an 81-year-old in Vermont who called it her pause corner. She had a rocking chair by the window, a soft shawl, and a little note that said, "Do not disturb." Grandma's regeneration time. That made me smile. She honored her nap like it was sacred. And maybe it is. Fourth, let go of guilt. Resting is not quitting. Resting is not wasting time. Resting is choosing life, choosing clarity, choosing to show up better when you wake. Every time you rest with intention, you're giving your heart a break, your brain a breather, and your spirit a hug. And finally, remember that napping is personal. What works for me might not work for you. Some people nap sitting up in a recliner, others lie flat. Some close their eyes, but don't sleep. And that's okay. Rest is not about perfection, it's about allowing. You know, I once spoke with a retired nurse named Carol. She told me, "I cared for others my whole life. I never knew how to care for myself until I learned to lie still at 2 p.m. every day." Her voice cracked when she said it. I never thought silence could feel so full. That's the heart of this message. The nap isn't just about stopping, it's about filling yourself back up with peace, with breath, with nothingness that somehow brings everything back. So if you've been fighting sleep in the afternoon, maybe it's time to make peace with it. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this talk, it's this. Don't be afraid to rest. Don't see it as weakness or laziness. See it as wisdom. The kind of wisdom that only comes with age, with experience, with knowing your limits and honoring them. Because these moments of stillness, they aren't empty. They're full. Full of healing, full of clarity, full of life. Whether it's a quiet 20 minutes in your chair, or just a soft pause with your eyes closed and the world shut out for a while, your body deserves that grace. You've carried so much, let it rest. And if you found something in this story that spoke to you, maybe a reminder, maybe a comfort, I hope you'll like this video and subscribe to the channel. We share weekly stories just like this, rooted in senior health, elderly wisdom, and the kind of life lessons you can only learn with time. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I'd love to know what corner of the world you're listening in from. Until next time, take care of your body, take care of your mind, and don't forget to close your eyes once in a while and just breathe.